What you're about to see is an experimental review of LUX, a Doctor Who episode that aired today, the 19th of April 2025. This review will include bits that seem weird, such as subtitle only section, or sections that seem weird. But this is a review of LUX. It will heavily contain spoilers and a lot of the word wow and a lot of areas of non-negativity because, as you will see, there's not much to be negative about. But without further ado, enjoy the show. Wow. Just wow. I can't make into words why my passion for what is Doctor Who and why it's so incredible. And I think it's hard to say. LUX, LUX, is and was marvellous. I can't wait for you to hear my review. It was magical. It's like I thought that episode 1 was extraordinary, but episode 2 smashes it out of the park in every sense of the word. But that's just my initial thoughts. Wow. Just wow. I've just witnessed brilliance. And here I am to review it for you. Roll titles.
BBC Whoniverse.
Hello, Whovians, and welcome back to the review show, which is a show in itself where I review Doctor Who. Today we're reviewing Doctor Who Series 15, Episode 2, LUX, spelled L-U-X. Our villain for this piece was Alan Cumming, aka Mr. Ringading. If you saw my video this morning about my predictions, it is Mr. Ringading, not Mr. A. Ringading. But Mr. Ringading, worst title ever of a name, because unless you see it written down, it's hard to work out how to pronounce it, was, I think LUX in itself is marvellous, extraordinary. It's one of those things that you want to watch over and over again. I've never really laughed, stunned, shocked, and just smiled at Doctor Who, really. Because not many things make me laugh at one thing, smile at another thing, and go, wow. Even though I love Doctor Who, and there's nothing wrong with any episode/story of Doctor Who. Well, there's probably a few, and I'm not going to go through them now because we're here to review LUX. Now, let's talk about the elephant in the room. Yes, that elephant. Yes, I know I'm doing it early on in the review, but I have to talk about Mr. Ringading, the God of Light, and a montage of the Toymaker, of Sutek, and our friend and yours. Well, it's from the Devil's Chord, and cheesy devil. Well, the god of music, really, and that's like, wow. I can't remember her name at this moment in time. It will come back to me, hopefully in this review, because I think Devil's Chord was really good, but on a whole, this is a stronger episode to the Devil's. Even the Devil's Chord was brilliant and had a lot of things around it. So issues with Susan and making it look like Susan's going to return. That was slightly off of that one. But this time we're in the 50s. That time we were in the 60s. And so what works really well is that we're in America, we're in the 50s, and there's obviously political and things happen at that time. I'm not going to go through because we're not here to talk negative. And we're not here to talk about that type of stuff, because we're here just to review the episode, not review the historical accuracy of the time period. And I think that because it starts where the last one ends, it works perfectly, because you don't have adventures in between. I mean, it's hard for Big Finish to try and ram something in there to try and make a story, but I'm not gonna spoil the official episode ending. I might talk about the end credit ending, which I just thought was absolutely hilarious. Right, I said in my video, my film is what I'm calling it, this morning, about it's odd having Doctor Who fans in it, right? As in characters that are called Doctor Who fans. Their involvement was so hilarious. It's like, right, so this episode, LUX, was written by Russell T Davies. Russell T Davies is very friendly with Stephen Moffat. So why did he not choose any of New Who that he wrote for a sequence where they had to mention an episode? And they all went, we prefer Stephen Moffat and Blink. And it's like, well, I sort of see why. Blink is a fantastic episode. The Weeping Angels are fantastic. Stephen Moffat did an excellent job on that. It'll look really embarrassing on me now if I got that fact wrong. So I do apologise if I got that fact wrong. I'm now doubting myself. Ooh, a Doctor Who fan doubting themselves and they might have got a fact wrong. Ooh, that's a nightmare on my front. But that's beside my point. I think, let's just talk about my favourite character. Well, okay, my favourite characters. Right, so my favourite character, right, isn't Mr. Ringading, even though he was generally brilliant. I am going to say the Doctor Who fans. Yes, the Doctor Who. Sorry that my light died. I put that one on China this morning. Yes, the Doctor Who fans are the best characters in this. It's because at that sequence where Mr. Ringading has trapped the Doctor and Belinda in film, and they're trying to get through this, and they step out into our world where they're watching that episode that I'm watching. I was trying to work out, as this sequence was occurring, whether or not they were thinking, shall we film this in 3D and get people to get 3D glasses again, or is that trend gone? Well, that's the thing that really intrigued me on that one. Because that could have worked if 3D filming had become popular and not a novelty, then that sequence would have been far better in 3D. But because 3D isn't the glorious piece of medium that you would expect, we're now in the situation of how do we make that look good? And that, I was curious to see how that would play out. And I really liked the Doctor Who fans. I liked how they were, how Shooty was really adamant that his adventures were better than Blink, which I'm not going to disagree with now. That'll be a separate debate for a separate day. Not right now. No. But what I will say is The costume they were wearing, I do think is brilliant because we have a unit hoodie, Tom Baker's scarf. See, we got to include Classic Who into that, right? She's wearing the Meep t-shirt, and we've got a Mondasi and Simon. So we've got Doctor Who references that isn't just New Who in that sequence, which is perfect. Which is what you need. They've all got Doctor Who mugs, and I do think that. I mean, they've not said it's 8 a.m. because that would have been really funny if they poked the fun at it was 8 a.m. or they poked the fun at that it was midnight. Right, one of them would have been funny, but I don't think Russell really wants to poke the fun at that, or else Disney Plus probably wouldn't be happy with him. Disney, not just the streaming service. And so, overall, I think the episode was fantastic, brilliant. I think the element of we mentioned By Generation again. We saw flashbacks of the toy maker to signify the god of games, god of I can't remember which god Sutek is, and then we've got the Vixen, not Vixen, yeah, no, she'll come back to me. The god of music, and Maestro. Told you it'll come back to me. Maestro, the god of music. I'm curious as to why we didn't involve the Trickster, because Sutek mentioned the Trickster being a god as well. So in a sequence of gods, why not the Trickster? Is the Trickster going to return in the future so that Ncuti's got a sequence with the Trickster in it? Because he had a brief sequence with Neil Patrick Harris's Toymaker. So there's a lot of things going on. Belinda, again, called it a TARDIS thingy. She knew he was a Time Lord, and I don't think he ever mentioned that. And she knew a semi-bit about Gallifrey. Now, that confuses me slightly, because how would she know about Gallifrey? She didn't know it by name, but she knew it by nature. So there's something not right with Belinda, because Belinda knows what TARDIS is, and Belinda knows what Time Lord is. Now, I am going to mention this now. I wasn't going to, but I've got to mention it, right? We've got to the 11-minute mark in this review, and at this point, I don't know all the YouTube stats, whatever. I'm not that type of online presence person. I don't look at who's watching when, what to mention what when. Mrs. Flood is in it. Now, the thing that stuck with me the most was Mrs. Flood's going to be revealed to who she is on the 24th of May. Because I want to know how she travelled in 1950s America. How does she get to 50s America? And I want to know more. So, 24th of May. That's not... I don't think the 24th of May is the Eurovision final. So I don't think she'll be revealed in Interstellar Song Contest. I don't think that is when she'll be revealed. So, it's going to be intriguing, this. Because Mrs. Flood's becoming more and more cryptic. Hello, editing Tom here. Well, interrupting Tom, really. I haven't started editing it yet. What you're currently watching is a review of LUX. And I have just interrupted myself to bring this clip to say the next bit of LUX, my LUX review that you're about to see will be audio only, due to the fact that I didn't know the camera had died and I was still talking for an incredibly long period of time. I have no idea which part it died on at the moment, but what I do know is that I love LUX, and I talk for ages, and this video is very experimental because obviously you heard my disclaimer at the beginning. We have, and what we've got so far is got the subtitle section, which is me saying wow, 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 it's amazing. because I wanted to give an initial thought, but I didn't want it to be the same as last week's video. Then we've got something weird, which is when I was doing some research into audio description, because I'm trying to audio describe some of my videos, I found that there was a section when you start off with the Hooniverse thing. It says on it, Hooniverse. I thought that was really interesting, and I wanted to show it to the world. So that's why you saw that just before it rolled to the titles. Well, you saw me going wow, 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 and then you saw that, then you saw the titles, and then the whole video's come on. And now you're at this point in the review where I'm here. Now, I've watched it, and it's currently 10:56 a.m. Not when I finished recording, because I only just finished recording that video. And I like to say that I think LUX is one of, I think, Shooty's strongest episodes. I don't say this in the rest of my review, so this might feel a little bit jarring. I do apologise. That it's one of those, it's overall really adventurous, and it is Shooty's strongest episode. I think this is a perfect episode for Belinda, even though her opening last week was fantastic. I think that LUX really does excel her as a companion, as a character, and overall as a person. I think that this helps flesh out the character more, and I don't think you can get any better than LUX. So, without further ado, please enjoy what is now going to be the audio-only section of the review, because what I do, Albert mentioned it briefly, I record the audio separately to the visual. So the audio's still recording, and it means I don't lose anything. If something goes wrong with the visual, I don't lose the audio, I don't lose what I'm saying, because it's all off the cuff. None of this is scripted. I'd only just finished watching the episode, I've come up here to film this. So there is bits and bobs that are a little bit all over the shop, really. So I do apologise, but hopefully you enjoy the rest of my review nonetheless. And I thought to myself, I don't know what point it's died yet. I think I should chip in with some more visuals just before we get to the audio only, to explain it'll be audio only, and to say a few more things about why I think LUX was incredible. I do want to say that the art style for Mr. Ringerding, which I didn't mention this in the review, the art style for Mr. Ringerding, the art style for when the Doctor and Ruby become animation, this is all of the art styles of Mr. Ringerding, all the art styles of the Doctor, I think are incredible. And I'll say this once more, and I'll say it again in the review, I can't wait to see how this all comes together on Doctor Who Unleashed. And eventually, once the series has ended, I will do a review of Series 2 of Doctor Who Unleashed to see, was Doctor Who Unleashed, this series, better than the first series of Doctor Who Unleashed? Because what really makes you understand that the world of Doctor Who was weird at the time is, when last week's episode was being filmed, the airing of the Starbase had only just happened, or was happening that evening. I think that's just baffling to me, because they got a 2-series commission by Disney to do this. And I just think that just shows that and I can't wait to see Ruby Sunday returning into the series, but I think this episode is just fantastic, and I'm glad we got it at the height, because we don't know how busy Alan Cumming could have been. Because of the Tracy's US being so popular, he could have been busy doing that and not have any time for Doctor Who. But there you go. So please enjoy what is left of the audio-only version of the review that might just have an image from tonight's episode. It might not end up being the thumbnail image, but who knows. So I do apologise, but enjoy nonetheless. And obviously the end card's visual, so the visuals will return. Bye-bye. She's like what Susan Twist was, which, by all chances, where on earth is Susan Twist? The announcer should be in Series 2. Susan Twist's role was just to appear in everything, but is that what Mrs. Fudd's doing? Is Mrs. Fudd's going to appear in everything, and she's going to I think she'll have a boxing match with Susan Twist. Come on, bottom up, boom, 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 boom. Let's fight, shall we? No, I don't think that will happen. How will Susan Twist be in this series? I don't know. Mrs. Flood appearing in this was just like The 24th of May? And then the credits roll, and I'm going, the 24th of May? What? The 24th of May. Right. Right. And then, as I'm watching this, bearing in mind it's not had its BBC One airing live transmission yet, you then hear voices. Right? And previously, the Doctor Who fan was assumingly dead. And so, we didn't think we'll see him again. That is like, that's one way to end an episode of Doctor Who in this sense, where you've introduced Doctor Who fans, you've introduced a lot of things that make no sense if you haven't seen the episode, and everything just melts your mind, and Mr. Ring-a-Ding now being God, like as in, he is now the God of Light, literally, because he's got so big, he's no longer existing because of the sun, and so the God of Light is now not evil, right? I think that'll all come to clear. I think we'll have more with the gods later. And so having them appearing at the end, talking about how they were there to say, this makes no sense. Oh, it's all going to be revealed. Oh, they've already told the ending. And all that works really well. Then find out they're not dead. And I hope, as a joke, shall we say, I think that Juno Dawson, right? I don't know which episode she's writing per se, but I think Juno Dawson, after this series, needs to stop writing for TV Who for now, right? Because what she needs to do, because she did really well with Doctor Who Redacted, she needs to write a spin-off audio thing, spin-off podcast, where Doctor Who fans, those Doctor Who fans from tonight and today's episode, are reviewing Doctor Who, but in their manner. So they're the characters they're basically the characters of the Doctor Who fans from today's episode from Lux should have their own Doctor Who podcast, but it's an audio drama, so that it's like you see about their lives before they sit down and record, and then they record. And it's those actors. So I think Juno Dawson, because she did so well with Doctor Who Redacted, should do that in the hiatus between the show. So I think that she should finish with this series for now, do that, then come back to TV Who, because then I think this will really work really well. Or she could co-write the audio drama spin-off with Russell T Davies to make sure that she gets exactly the same rhythm of characters. Or Russell can just be a supervisor and a producer to make sure that the characters are exactly like they were in the TV show. Because I know Juno Dawson, excellent at writing audio drama due to Doctor Who Redacted being so brilliant. And so Ellie Watts did it fantastically as well. To Juno Dawson, Ellie Watts, and all the crew on Doctor Who Redacted were fantastic. So I think that will make it even more fantastic if we have Juno Dawson writing this spin-off. Because I think that those are characters that should be more utilised. I think they were fantastic in tonight's episode. Overall, I think that Mr. Ring-a-Ding was a fantastic villain. Alan Cumming definitely excels in that type of character. The whole reference about the gods is incredible. I think the whole thing is incredible. The look of it, the outlook, the animation. I can't wait to watch Doctor Unleashed to find out how the animation came to life and how this cracking episode happened. So I'm going to leave you on that note. Tonight's episode was better than last year's episode 2. So I think Lux is far better than Devil's Cord, due to the fact that Devil's Cord and the Church on Ruby Road, not Church on Ruby Road, the first episode of the last series, I can't think of the name of it either. They aired back to back, so I just think that that's what really rubs it off the wrong way slightly. So I think this episode is fantastic, and I can't wait to hear what everyone else has got to say on podcasts. Because Doctor Who, as a fan, I've got millions of podcasts. I've got my own Bully Box Files, which when you listen back to the archive is fantastic, because it used to be called Doctor Who Discussion, and then I've changed it to something else, and now I'm at the Bully Box Files because of Doctor Who Redacted. I interviewed Ellie Watts onto the show, and I wanted to rename Bully Box Files because in Doctor Who Redacted they've got a show called the Bully Box Files. Anyway, see, I'm a massive fan of Doctor Who, and well, yeah, and I think that Doctor Who fans, even in this, were fantastic. Some of them, yeah, and I just think it's just incredible, and this is just going to explore on, and more fans are going to come to this, and I think this is a jumping on point for how experimental Doctor Who can be, and how glorious this show is, and when Yasmin Khan had What Would the Doctor Do on her hand, people got that tattooed, and that was the opening for the amazing world of the 13th Doctor era, and that sort of captured what that era was. And I think that having that sentiment of what captures a certain era in what we've got, I think Mr. Ringading and the whole of LUX just captures how experimental, how out of this world Doctor Who can be, and I can't say anything else. If I had to say one thing negative before I go, right, if I had to say one thing negative, I think that it's Mr. Pye. Don't think he did enough. I mean, he helped save the day, yes, but I think he could have done more in the beginning, in the middle. When he's on screen, he could have done more, apart from help save the day. But he could have done slightly more. But that's my only negative, because this was out of this world. Ta-ra! Don't forget to subscribe to the official Tom Mason YouTube channel